Kentaro Miura would be in bliss. With the recent announcement of the return of an old classic from 2013, we are finally able to bear some witness to an increase in Berserk's popularity within the more mainstream markets in manga and anime. And though Miura passed away a year and a half ago, it is almost a shining glimmer of fresh good news that Studio 4 Degrees has seemingly picked up more than what was left in 2013, in the form of a new edition of the previously created Berserk anime movie, Golden Age Arc. Yet, this announcement has been met with some other mysteries as well, and today we are going to go through 3 major pieces of information that may once again reignite a love for this manga, and potentially attract more to the limelight of this masterpiece. So let's talk about the first point. Now, there has been this sudden mysterious countdown when you press into the Memorial Edition official website of Berserk. And what it comes up is a countdown of days that seemingly are counting down towards something that no one really knows what is up. And some people initially, when they see this, is thinking, oh okay, maybe that's when they fully release the entirety of the Memorial Edition. But what's interesting to note here is that no, it's not, because the Memorial Edition has already been released on Sunday, October the 1st. And what they're planning on doing with that is releasing a week-by-week episode of recuts and rescored versions of the movie itself. So I don't think that there are actually extra animations per se, well, at least not excessive amounts. So I do believe that after 62 days or 60 days of this countdown, we'll be able to see something that is truly surprising and truly shocking to the dedicated fans of this amazing manga. And another thing that I really want to just point out is that the countdown is actually overlaid over the top of a behelit. And usually when we see behelits in the actual manga, it is a symbol of what? It is a symbol of power, a symbol of rebirth almost. Something that is used as a vehicle of destruction, but not just destruction, but also something that tears the fabrics of reality, right? And I think that having the countdown overlaid this may be a really strong indication that we're all in for a huge shock, we're all in for a huge monumental change in this Berserk community, where fans of all sorts would somehow be quite shocked and quite surprised at the outcome of what is being created and released after this countdown has finished. Now, the second point that I really want to get into today is the Memorial Edition of this Golden Age arc. Now, it has been confirmed that this Memorial Edition is merely the Golden Age trilogy being recut into an ongoing TV series or episodes, and it is currently airing in Japan, and it's been airing since October the 1st. And now this new edition will include some small updates, also with some newer visual enhancements, probably some recoloring or like re-rendering, and also new voice work and new music. Now, this may seem quite juvenile and quite, I guess, a bit of a money grab to a lot of audiences, but I also think that it may also be used as a tool to kind of promote what is to come at the end of this countdown. Very similarly is what Demon Slayer did in the beginning of this year, when they decided to re-release the entire train arc, where it was originally released as a movie, but then what they did was they divided it into episodes and released them weekly as well, with slight changes to each episode. Granted, there weren't too many changes, but I believe it was used more as like a marketing thing, something to entice audiences and prepare them for what is to come. And this is also prevalent in other animes, where they like to hype the audience up using recaps and using things in the past to kind of bring forth the great memories that audiences have experienced watching the anime. And I truly think that this is what the release of this Memorial Edition is doing. It is kind of rekindling that desire, rekindling that passion that old fans have had since the beginning of Berserk, and trying to get them excited for some new content that Berserk has to offer, especially since the fact that Berserk has been such a long and old ongoing manga since the 90s. So there must be a lot of fans out there that have seemingly probably given up on staying up to date, and also given up especially due to the fact that the main author passed away last year. So I think all in all, this is quite good news. And the third point that I really want to just talk about is something that I kind of covered in the first 2 points as well, but the fact that the re-releasing of the manga again, and how this memorial edition is also coming out, along with the fact that this mysterious countdown is now happening, this may all be a very promising indication of a huge studio creating an actual anime of Berserk. Now, we've seen in the past that there have been 2 renditions of this amazing manga, and the first one, the one done in 1997, a lot of people said it was very decent, but I think that it kind of failed due to the lack of audiences and due to the fact that it was created in the 90s where the manga itself was still developing. It was hard to gain a dedicated following in the community, so I believe that's why it kind of dropped off. But unfortunately, the 2016 re-release used a lot of CGI in its scenes, and it kind of dampened and kind of ruined the mood of the entire manga, especially because originally the manga itself was drawn like masterpiece artworks, and it was also rumored that Miura loved to take as long as sometimes even weeks on one panel just to perfect it to its details. And that is also why when we're reading through older chapters, well, not older chapters, but chapters from, let's say, 3 years ago, you would see that the amount of detail in each panel is extremely amazing compared to the ones, even the re-releases, where it's been drawn by his old editors. You can definitely see a difference in the amount of detail and the amount of facial detail and the amount of details in general, where you can definitely see that there has been a shift in its illustration. But nevertheless, I think this is really good news that we may be in for a treat in the form of an actual well-crafted, well-animated and well-illustrated anime. And just like that, I'm just so excited for what is to come, because out of all the animes that have been released in the past few years, I still never get the same feelings that I get from reading Berserk. And even upon rereading it, it's always stood out to me. And I really hope that all of these marketing schemes work, and that more and more people can start to enjoy this amazing manga/anime.